Hi, this is Harish here. Welcome to DB2 tutorial part 3. In this tutorial, I'm going to talk about the overview for DMS tablespaces. The scripts that I'm using, the data files that I'm using are available for free download at db2lewacademy.blogspot.com. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/db2lewacademy. And if you have watched the tutorial part 2, it talks about what and where are table spaces. It's the same slide that you're seeing here. Table spaces are locations in hard disk to place your tables, and multiple tables can be there in a single table space. And the table space are physically just a bunch of folders or files, like they are locations. When I say like table spaces are locations, they are just physically, if you look at as objects in the OS, they are just a bunch of folders or files together. And so when I say bunch, obviously it means multiple files or folders, and those are what are called as containers. And there are two types of table spaces, SMS and the DMS. SMS is more, you can view the SMS as multiple ways, but table spaces itself is a logical thing and a physical thing. So this is more about a physical description of it. So it's a folder based location, and each table is a file, or it can be like multiple files also based upon how many containers you have. Similarly, DMS, it is like this is a difference. So DMS is like a file based location, and each table is a set of pages or extents, they call it as. And the table spaces come with predefined page sizes, which is 4K, 8K, 16K, and 32K. And this is the overview of the DB2 DMS table spaces. It's a file based location for storing tables, and multiple tables can be stored in the same DMS file or container. And container management operations are allowed, whereas in SMS tablespaces, the container management operations are not allowed. You cannot perform any of the add, drop, resize, reduce, or extend operations on the container for that particular table space. So if it is SMS, but if it is a DMS table space, these operations, container management operations, are allowed. And during the table space creation itself, the containers, you kind of, the space, because it's a file, right? So you have to create that file with a specified size. So it, whereas in SMS it is like a folder, right? So you just need to allocate this particular folder. So whatever the space of that folder, we don't consider it. Whereas in DMS, it is like, that's why it's called as like maybe pre-allocation of a space, we can say like that. But it's like a file that you are creating, and it will occupy so much of space. That is for the container operations, like the whatever the table space itself is composed of files. The files will be allocated with space. It cannot be like a zero size file, right? So it will be like a some amount of space is allocated for that file, which you have to specify during the table space creation. And after the table space creation, you can, like, resize the container. That's what you're doing by add, drop, resize, reduce, and extend operations on the container. So uh, so like if you add, maybe you're adding a new container or a new file as part of that table space. So that means like you are creating more number of pages, and you can store more data or table into that table space. So you're giving essentially more space to the table space if you add. But drop and resize and reduce are accordingly. Okay, so those, like, it's more like user explained, right? The words itself explain what you're doing. And with DMS table spaces, there is a concept of HWM, which is called as high watermark. So there is no similar concept in SMS, and it is the level up to which the table space extents are full. So for example, if I create a table in the table space and it is occupying all those pages, right? So you can have your extents as 2 pages, 5 pages, 10 pages, 32 pages, like that. So 32 pages will constitute one extent. So after one extent, so till that one extent is full, the next extent is full. Then the next set of 32 pages is full. Then the next set of 32 pages are full. Like that it goes on. So up to what level you're filling up, because you're allocating the space up front, you can allocate 100 GB, but you use only 1 GB, right? It can happen. So that's the concept of high watermark. And then obviously there will be multiple ways to reduce or lower high watermark. It is a very unique concept that is applicable only to DMS table spaces, and the tables in DMS table spaces grow one extent at a time, and there is a table space map associated with it. So all you need to do understand is of that. So there is a table space map associated with it. So we will definitely look into the DMS table spaces more in detail in further videos. So as of now, what I'll do is I'll just look at oops, I have connected to a database, not even database, I have connected to the SLES02, like a machine which houses DB2 INST2, which is the instance, and we have created a sample database sample. So I'm just going to connect to sample. So it just created the tables there. So let me just maybe increase the font a bit. So db2 list. Okay, so first I think I connected. So I'll just say list table spaces. So already you can see there is syscat space, temp space, and user space 1. So what we'll do, we'll go here, we have connected to sample, and we'll try to create a regular table space which is DMS1 managed by database, and this is the extent size that I'm saying. The extent size is 2, which means I will allocate only 2 pages as one extent. So if I say my table space is going to have an extent size of 2, which means it's like 2 pages as one extent. So one extent will be 2 pages. And you can see the DMS, that is the command for creating the DMS table space managed by database. If you say managed by system, it's going to be SMS. Please watch the video tutorial part 2, DB2 tutorial part 2. This is DMS tutorial 3. And file. So instead of folder, you give the name file. And you identify the file itself. Like it's in the $home, which means whatever the home directory is of the instance. Data1 and DMS1 dot data. That's how I'm going to create that. So let's copy that and go to the command prompt and paste it and hit enter. So it's unable to allocate the pages in tablespace DMS1. So that's an error that we are getting. Why we are getting an error? So that's because the minimum 6 extents for creation of table space. So if I say 10 pages, so this is the pages, that is like 10. So if I say 10 pages, extent size is 2, I'm allocating only 5 extents in this particular file. So it houses only 10 pages, which is 5 extents, right? That is not possible. So you require minimum 6 extents. So this is like a table space creation. So again, I'll go to the command prompt. I'm going to say paste that command. Yes, the table space created successfully. Next, I'll list the show detail. So I'm just going to see, okay, so you can see the 4 DMS1 is created, regular table space, it's in normal state, and you can see the total pages is 12, usable is 10. So 2 pages, which is like 1 extent per container. This is a single container table space, right? So how am I going to say that it's a single extent? It's like, okay, this is the number 4 for that. So list table space containers for 4. That's the command I'm going to use. And I'm going to say like that. So you can see it's a file, type is file, and that is the particular path in which that file is there, and it should contain 12 pages, right? So 12 pages means so you can look for the you can look for the size itself, like for example like this, right? So that's the command for that. So you can see very well it's 48K in size. 48K divided by 4K is 12, right? So 12 pages, which is what we got here, and 1 extent is already used. Sorry, 1 extent is reserved for internal purposes. It says usable, right? So even though I have allocated 12, only 10 is usable in that. 1 is for internal purposes, 1 extent is for internal purposes, and 3 is already used. Again, maybe for some internal purposes, I don't know, but this is how you get it. So three extents are already used. So we have only 2 extents free, and the high watermark is at page number 6, which is extent 3 maybe. Okay, yeah, 3 0 1 2. You can, the extent numbering is like 0 1 2, but it's the third extent in which the high watermark is present like that. And you can see the extent size is 2, number of containers is also 1. Okay, so let's go to the tutorial again. So we have now created the table space, and I have showed you the file size, and I'm going to extend the container. So this is an example of extend. So here I did not create any tables, so I don't go below the high watermark, above the high watermark kind of conditions. So I can do all kind of container activities without any restrictions. So don't go with this, but this is just to demonstrate the ability to extend, add, reduce, and resize, and what is happening when you do that. So when I say alter table space, extend by 2. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm pasting. So yes, the command got successful. So if I look at the data file, the size of that, so 48K, we have added 2 pages, which means 8K. So it should be like 56K. That's exactly what you're getting. And I'll go again here and I'll add another 2 more pages. So again, I look at the size. So it is 64K. So because we have in total we have added 4 pages, right? 2 and 2. So we have added 4 pages. So 16K. So 16K means 48 plus 16, right? So yeah, 48 plus 16 is 64. So that's what you're seeing, the size of that file. So this is still we have extended the same container. We are extending the size of the container. So and if you look at the list table space show detail, right? Show detail. Yeah. So it should be like, so from 12 pages it should become 14 and 16 pages. Yes. So you can see it is the 16 pages, and still the same 2 pages is used for the container internal purposes. You can see that, and the high watermark stays at 6 because we are just looking at creation of containers, and we are not adding any tables or table data to that. So let's look at the size. I think it should be the same. So 64K. Yep. And then the next demonstration is I'm going to resize the entire thing to 32 pages. So which means, so okay, already we have 16. That's the total number of pages we have, and I'm saying like 32, which means from 16 we are adding more than, like we are adding another 16 pages. We can treat it that way. So it's like resizing the container. So the new container, or I mean the same container, it's getting resized, which means the file is going to basically get expanded. It's going to get allocate more space in the hard disk for that file, and that will be 32 pages. So 32 pages of 4K, right? 144K it should be after this activity. If I look at this, it should be 128. Okay, 32 into 4. Yeah, 32 into 4. I'm very poor in math. Maybe 32 into 4 is 128, which is what is you're seeing. So we have resized that particular file. Okay, so by means of the resize command, and after that you can see I'm reducing it by another 12 pages. So from 32, if I reduce 12, so it should become 20 pages, right? So let's see whether it does that. So if you look at 20 pages is 80K, and you can give the list table space show detail also. It should show you, yeah, right there. It's 20 pages. You can see the total pages 20. Okay, so that's one kind of activity. Then the next one is add a container. So this is what we have never done this. So this is like we have extended, we have resized, we have reduced, which all operates on that particular container. So now when I say DMS add, I'm adding a new file itself. Okay, so let's do that. So we have added 12 more pages. So if you add 12 more pages, so let's look at both the files now. Okay, so one file is 80K, which was already there, 20 pages, right? So that 80K file is already there. So we have added 12 more pages, which is 48K. So you can see that this is in data 1 directory, and this is in data 1 directory, and this is in data 2 directory. That's how it is. So it becomes a two container effort now, like two container table space now. Sorry. So let's look at the command for table space containers. So it will be 2 containers. One is in data 1 dms1.data, another is data 2 dms1.data. Okay, so and look at the in show detail, it should be like already there was 20 pages. So now 20 plus 12, it should be total 32 pages now. So in 32 pages, so one extent per container, so 4 pages is gone. See, so one extent per container, so it's gone. So the high watermark stays, used pages is still 6, high watermark is still 6. We'll see separately what is the change in high watermark, what happens, like we will see that in the next video tutorial. Then we can do this drop also. So if you don't want a container, right, so you can drop, and here I'm able to reduce, resize, or extend like these kind of container operations, you cannot do it just like that without any restriction, because if any kind of restriction goes in such a way that you are reducing the number of pages lesser than the high water mark, right? It will not allow. So I'll show you that in a different example, but just try to understand that these are the container level management operations that you can do, and it just means that you're just operating on a file. That's it. So we have dropped the container. So I'm going to say now containers for 4. So you can see the data 1 directory dms1 dot data is gone, right? So there is only one container for that. And if I say list table spaces show detail, so the 80k is gone. So only the 48k should be available, right? So 48k is 12 pages, right? So that is only the available now. Okay, so that's what you're seeing there. Okay, so if I look at these file size again, so I think there is only one file. So obviously, so the second file, there is no file like that. The data 1 we have dropped, right? Only the data 2 dms1 dot data is there for that table space. So that table space became a single container file, dms table space. This is all about what DMS table space is. What you are creating is actually a file within some folder. Obviously, any file needs to be inside some folder. You need to have access to that folder so that that DMS table space can be created, and it just creates a file for you with a particular size. And then the number that you are giving is the number of pages, and each page is 4k, so you know how to do the math and get your total number of pages in terms of file size or in terms of kilobytes, megabytes. Like, it's a simple math. So that's it in this video tutorial. Hope to see thanks for watching this video. Hope to see you in the next video tutorial. See you. Bye bye.